Second Take YouTube channel. This is a new endeavor for me that I am just trying to figure out how I can best assist those that are out there in this crazy world right now, trying to maneuver their way through so much competing information and recognizing that at the end of the day, we really just want to be healthy and happy and to help our families thrive. And I'm hoping that my personal experience over the last 51 years, as well as most specifically over the past year, will really help some of you try and bring that same level of health and happiness to your life that I've been able to bring to my own. So I wanted to get on here and just tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm talking to you for those of you who may be interested. I started a new endeavor about a year ago, and this occurred after some encouraging by friends and family who knew that at the end of the day, what I really always was passionate about my entire life was health and helping other people regain their health. At first, when I was young, I thought that was going to be a doctor. And then life happened. And I ended up having 2 children at an early age. I was a young mom. And in my early 20s, I found myself as a divorced mother of 2 children and was in nursing school because those doctor dreams got put on hold, and nursing seemed to be something that would be more attainable as my kids were young. And then when I found myself single, that kind of took a second base, I guess, to needing something that was a little bit more stable, that I would be able to be with my children on the weekends, with my children on school holidays. And I knew that nursing, especially as a baby nurse, I would be in the hospital and working likely nights or weekends and holidays in order to make sure that I could make ends meet. So I changed my major and I went into business. And my business career started off in a medical malpractice insurance company, which I kind of felt was a good fit. And I learned a lot, started that career thinking that it would be something I would do for a little while, but it very quickly became something that those of us in the industry called the golden handcuffs. Most people that are in insurance careers and claims didn't intend to be there. They landed there. So we used to always joke and laugh about how it was the golden handcuffs, because sooner or later you were making so much money, you couldn't start over and do something else. So that was what happened to me. I quickly went from being a claims adjuster to a claims supervisor. I was in my mid-20s when I first became a supervisor. And then that became a manager, branch claims manager for a large insurance company. That became state manager for an insurance company. But through that entire time, I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. And we'll get into a lot of that later for different reasons. But I always had the desire to help people. I always felt like I was meant to do more. I was meant to try to help people in this world to do something. I didn't know what, but I knew that I was here to help people. Well, through the years of my 27-year insurance claims career, I had many different iterations of health issues. They started early on. I was diagnosed in my early 20s with systemic lupus erythematosus, which is a disease that my mother has. And after a particularly heinous flare-up, it was believed that I had the same thing. And I remember thinking back then that this couldn't be possible. I had 2 young children. I was a single mother, and there's no way that I had time for a systemic lupus erythematosus diagnosis, that couldn't happen. And I remember feeling like that diagnosis did not resonate with me. It meant nothing as far as I could tell. And the research that I did said that there wasn't much that was understood about the disease. However, there were plenty of drugs that they wanted to put me on, from steroids to anti-inflammatories to all sorts of different things, Plaquenil of all things, which is an anti-malaria drug that they use for systemic lupus. And through all of that, I remember thinking there's got to be a different way. There's got to be another way. This can't be a genetic issue that I've now passed on to my two children unbeknowingly. And that horrified me. But that was only the beginning. Though that diagnosis did not resonate, there were soon to be many other diagnoses. And as I moved my way through my insurance career, that one autoimmune disease became many. And there were all sorts of other chronic issues that I ended up with, one after the other after the other. So sooner or later, I was pre-diabetic, I was hypertensive, I was significantly overweight. I had many issues stemming from inability to eat certain foods and food challenges, sensitivities to gastrointestinal problems, to endometriosis, all of these health concerns and health issues. And it really didn't matter how many doctors I saw. They would sometimes add a new diagnosis, sometimes prescribe a different medication, sometimes say, it's all in your head and there's nothing wrong with you. It just depended on who I saw. And the list of problems and issues got longer and longer the older I got. And this all came to a head eventually, a couple of years ago. And when that started, and we'll get into details about all of these things anecdotally over time as we move through this video series, but suffice it to say that I eventually got to the point that I understood that either I was going to follow the medical paradigm and I was going to become one of the people who sits in the doctor's office with their little baggie of medication, and that was my future, or I was going to find a different way. And at first that started with functional medicine. I went down that road. Some of you may be familiar with the functional medicine track. But what I found over time was that all that functional medicine did for me was it replaced those medications with supplements. And I had hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars worth of supplements that I was supposed to be taking. And what I found with those was that many of those supplements actually made me worse, not better. My frustrations grew and continued to grow until I took my power back. Now, over the past few years, and especially the past year and a half, I've really done exactly that. I've taken my power back. I no longer take hundreds of supplements. I no longer give away my power to any other practitioner who's got a few letters behind their name in hopes that they're going to be able to help me heal. It started in working with my daughter, actually, of all places, with my nervous system and regulating my nervous system. And what started there became a larger understanding of our bodies, of how they truly work, of how our emotions and our state, our vibrancy, our frequency, how they all play together, and how those factors form our overall health. And once I started to understand that, I started to do more research and learn more and immerse myself in this new understanding of what it really means to be healthy and what and how that is so different than what we're taught. Even though, I started with medicine as my first love and really wanted to go into medicine, I quickly learned that really all they were teaching in school was which symptoms went with what drugs. That was the focus. There weren't any classes on nutrition or on how to live a healthy lifestyle. But over the years, I've learned exactly that. And last year, this newfound love of mine with natural health took a turn, and I was introduced to a new bioenergetic tool that can be utilized to decrease the stress on the human body, and by doing so, allow the body to heal itself. And I found that the passion that I was lacking in my insurance career was absolutely present in this newfound endeavor with this tool. At first, it started as just something I was going to use for my family, for my friends, my close friends. And that quickly became something that I loved doing so much that I left my 27-year career in insurance and I started my own business. And that's been fun. It's growing, and I have been helping other people, clients, recover their own health. But I realized while I was doing that working one-on-one with people, though I love it and I absolutely enjoy what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, that there are so many people out there struggling, and they're struggling for many different reasons. And we'll get into a lot of the reasons that I think that a lot of this is going on ultimately in the future. But I think the most important thing that I realized is that so many of us have given away our power. And I can only work with so many people one-on-one. So I wanted to put something out here that can maybe help that young mom who's in the situation that I was in 31 years ago. My daughter's now 31 years old. If I can help that young mom who doesn't have time to research the 50,000 other resources that are out there sharing information and trying to gain the information that she needs to help her family be healthy, if I can help the other professionals out there who also don't have time because they're too busy doing what it is that they do in their day-to-day life, and they maybe don't have the resources or the time or the knowledge background to understand how to wade through the vast array of information that's out there. If I can help to synthesize some of that information and bring to you an area that you can come and feel safe and feel that you can explore, maybe get some introduction to some other resources. I'll share with you resources that I've learned to utilize for my own health, things that I check with before I go to Dr. Google, areas and ways that I've used natural medicine, areas and ways I've used my own practices, daily practices to recover my own health, to get off of all medication, to stop taking all the supplements, to truly recover my health. I want to share those things for those of you who may not realize how easy it can really be, because it doesn't need to be as complicated as everybody likes to make it. Taking your power back and understanding that you hold the keys to your own health. You hold the keys to recovering the vibrant life that you want to be having. That's my purpose here. So if I can help share some information that might help, I would love to do that. And I'll be using some of the stories from my own life to help illustrate some of these points that I bring to you. Some of the things I'm sure will be common sense or common knowledge, things that you already know. But some of them hopefully will give you new insight and a new way of thinking about things that you may not have considered. Because at the end of the day, the thing that made me successful in my career and the thing that's made me successful in returning myself to health is really radical responsibility. And I have always been a believer of being responsible for your own position, being responsible for your own position in business, in your success in business or your role, whatever that role may be, your success with your family, your children, your health. It's all the same for me. I've always believed that we are responsible for where we are in our own life. And before you say, oh, but you don't know how bad I have it. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know, how severe my life has been. I understand. And I had experiences when I was younger that were challenging, more than challenging in some instances. At one point, I was a high school dropout. At another, I was a young married mom at 20 years old with a baby, a young person with a baby, not knowing what in the world I was going to do. And then 4 years later, having two babies and realizing now I have two kids under 5 and I'm divorced and I have no way to feed those kids. I was living in a trailer and I didn't even know where I was going to get the $182 trailer payment because I had no job. I was a stay-at-home mom and going to school, and now my husband was gone. What was I going to do now? So I get it. I get struggle. I understand it. I've been through a lot of it. But at the end of the day, the one thing that I've always said is, what are you going to do about it? What are you, Carrie, going to do about this situation to try to turn it, to try to change it, to try to better the situation in some way? And that's what I'm hoping that I can give to those of you who are here, those of you who find this, and those of you who care to listen, is hope. Because it doesn't have to be as difficult as we're making it. The health challenges don't have to be as difficult as we're making it. We don't have to allow doctors to tell us that we don't know our own bodies. We don't need to allow pharmaceutical companies to tell us that we need to be on 5 different drugs that have a list of side effects 1.5 miles long. None of that is necessary. So I'm here to share with you some of the ways that I've changed my own life in the hopes that it might give you hope that you can change your life and truly attain what it is that you want to in this life. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that can do it. There is no one here to save us. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. And there's a lot of fences these days being put between all of us. And I don't care which fences you're on or over. I couldn't care less, because at the end of the day, it's all the same. We're all people wishing and hoping for a better way, a better life. And if I can help you with any of that, I'd be happy to do so. I'm hoping that this can reach the people that it's intended to reach, and that some of you might find hope in an area where you might be able to learn a few things that you can put into practice and hopefully help your own life, and realize that just like I've done, you don't have to have letters behind your name in order to help yourself. You don't have to have the profession that tells you that you can fix your own life. You can do it yourself. So I ask you, what are you going to do about it? Are you ready to listen to me, who's somebody who's done it? That's the only credential I have. I've done it. I've changed my life, and I went from somebody that struggled mightily in many areas over a long period of time to somebody who's truly happy with how my life is today. And I hope that you care enough to give yourself the time to listen, to hope, and to think that just maybe there's a better way. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit here and listen and allow me the time and the space to hopefully bring you some information you haven't heard before? I hope so. And I hope to see you again. And if I don't, you choose not to watch, then I wish you the best. I wish you all the best in everything that you choose to do. And always recognize and know that you have the power. So join me here on Second Take. This is the second take for me. This is a new profession, one that's guided by nothing but love. And it's a second take in understanding that I have the power over my own life. And I hope that you choose to join me. So have a great day. If I don't see you again, I wish you the best. And if I do see you again, I truly look forward to hoping to learn from each other and to share how I got here. Thanks so much. Have a great day.